Hey folks, John Ferguson Smart here. I want to talk a little bit about test coverage. Now, test coverage in a traditional sense means the lines of code of your application that were executed during your automated tests. But my take on it is that test coverage is a relatively useless metric from the point of view of management. Let me explain. Test coverage simply says which lines of code were executed. It doesn't actually tell you what functionality was executed, what functionality was tested, and how it was tested. What I find a much more useful concept as far as coverage goes is what I call functional coverage. Functional coverage is of the features or the stories that you release in a particular release, how many of them have clearly defined acceptance criteria, and of those acceptance criteria, how many of those acceptance criteria were automated and executed and passed. That's what I call functional test coverage. And generally, when I work on large projects, I set up some custom reporting. It's not hard to do, to report on the functional test coverage for each release. So that for each release, you can say, here are the stories that were delivered, and of these stories, each one had some acceptance criteria. Here they are, and here is how they were tested, and so forth. And that I find is a much more powerful tool for communicating to management what was released and how well it was tested than simply a percentage of conventional test coverage. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Thanks for listening, folks.